As Russia fears a NATO invasion of Kaliningrad, are the Baltic states now dropping a major hint? After Sweden's bid to seize Russian-owned land, NATO's Baltic members are now making a major claim about Moscow's growing threat. NATO's Baltic members have made a major revelation about what they describe as the growing security threat posed by Russia. NATO appears to be sending a fresh signal just days after the CIA chief's secretive trip to Moscow. Russia prepares for a major confrontation in Kaliningrad, surrounded by NATO member states. CIA Director John Ratcliffe's unexpected trip to Moscow on August 25 triggered major speculation, as the rare visit came amid heightened tensions between Russia and NATO. Estonia and Latvia said their assessment of the Russian threat remains unchanged despite the CIA chief's high-profile visit to Moscow. According to Politico, the main goal of Ratcliffe's visit was to warn Russia against taking any escalatory action against the Baltic states. The visit came as the Baltic states accused Russia of carrying out cyberattacks, sabotage, disinformation campaigns and repeated aerial incursions. Estonian Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna said the Russian threat against NATO must be taken seriously, stressing the need for continued vigilance. Tsahkna also insisted that Estonia remains alert to potential threats, but said the country's overall assessment of the Russian threat has not changed. Latvian Foreign Minister Breiz said Riga is taking the necessary measures with its NATO allies to strengthen security and prepare for potential threats. Breiz said, and I quote, "Russia's aggression in Ukraine and rising hybrid activities against NATO allies leave no room for complacency. Latvia's threat assessment remains unchanged. Together with our NATO allies, we are taking the necessary measures to strengthen our security," unquote. Latvian Prime Minister Andris Kulbergs said there is no reason for panic, adding that the risk of a direct military invasion remains low. The Swedish army has asked the government to seize Russian-owned property near the strategically important Musk naval base, according to Swedish broadcaster SVT. The property sits along one of the key approaches to Sweden's underground naval facility in the Stockholm archipelago, giving it potential military significance. The Swedish Fortifications Agency reportedly believes the site could offer unique conditions for strengthening the defenses around the Musk naval base. Swedish military officials say the property could also be important for protecting Musk against the growing threat posed by drones and other aerial surveillance. Swedish media reported that the property is owned by Russian businessman Stanislav Alashenko, whose ownership has drawn increased scrutiny from Swedish authorities. Alashenko has reportedly been linked to Russian President Vladimir Putin, while the property itself is registered in the name of his wife. Swedish reports said Alashenko had been developing a large country house on the property, adding another layer to the security concerns surrounding the site. The move comes as Sweden grows increasingly concerned about Russian activity and wider security threats across the Baltic region. Against the backdrop of sustained tensions between Russia and NATO, the Russian Navy's Baltic Fleet carried out tactical air defense drills near Kaliningrad on August 26. The purpose of the exercise was to rehearse how Baltic Fleet units would respond to and repel a simulated enemy air raid aimed at their naval base and nearby military facilities. Crews from ships stationed at the Baltic naval base carried out their assigned training tasks, including surveillance, target detection, threat classification, and the simulated destruction of hostile aircraft. Under the drill scenario, Su-30 multi-role fighters, Mi-24 helicopters and unmanned aerial vehicles from the fleet's drone units acted as the simulated attacking force. After detecting and classifying the incoming targets, the warship crews used their anti-aircraft missile and artillery systems to notionally destroy the simulated enemy force. The drills came amid continuing NATO military activity around the Baltic Sea, where alliance members have increased surveillance, exercises, and force readiness following Russia's war in Ukraine. Russia has previously rejected calls for the Baltic Sea to become what Moscow describes as a NATO inland sea, arguing that the alliance's expanding presence threatens Russia's security interests in the region. President Vladimir Putin has said Russia would respond to any emerging threats to Kaliningrad, a heavily militarized Russian exclave position between NATO members Poland and Lithuania. NATO held a large air exercise on August 18, days after Russia's own military activity near Kaliningrad, bringing Allied aircraft together over Poland and the wider Baltic region. Around 25 aircraft from various NATO member states were reported to have joined the August 18 activity, although outside estimates varied and could not be fully verified by alliance officials. US, Polish and Lithuanian aircraft were detected in the region alongside American R-64E Apache attack helicopters, reflecting the multinational and multi-role nature of the exercise. A NATO E-3A Sentry aircraft operating over northern Poland provided airborne early warning, battle management, and command and control support for the wider air package. A U.S. Air Force EA-37B Compass Call electronic warfare aircraft operated near the Baltic approaches to Kaliningrad, while Artemis carried out intelligence and surveillance missions in the same area. The presence of several aerial refueling tankers was notable because it showed that prolonged time in the air and extended operational endurance were central to the day's training activity. Separate military aviation activity was also recorded over waters between Norway and Denmark, adding to the broader picture of heightened NATO air operations across northern Europe. A British P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft and a German military aircraft were tracked conducting flights for several hours between Norway and Denmark, though their specific mission was not publicly disclosed. The exact aim of the separate Norwegian-Danish flights remains unclear, and there is no public evidence that they were directly connected to the Kaliningrad air exercise. NATO Allied Air Command said the alliance is constantly improving its defensive capabilities, underscoring that such training is intended to maintain readiness and protect Allied airspace. The combination of platforms involved was notable because it brought together command aircraft, fighters, tankers, electronic warfare jets, reconnaissance assets, and ground forces in a single coordinated package. The E-3A Sentry provided airborne command and control functions, while US and Norwegian fighters formed the combat element of the exercise alongside Polish ground forces. Tankers extended the package's endurance, while the EA-37B Compass Call brought electronic warfare capability and Artemis II supplied intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance support. Together, these aircraft can form a complete operational package capable of monitoring the airspace, coordinating fighters, gathering intelligence, disrupting adversary signals, and remaining airborne for long periods. Geographically, the exercise was significant because much of the activity took place over Poland and the Baltic region near Kaliningrad, one of Russia's most heavily defended military territories. Kaliningrad, Russia's Baltic exclave located between NATO members Poland and Lithuania, is one of the alliance's most volatile operational regions because of its dense concentration of Russian missile, naval, and air defense forces. Such NATO air activity near Kaliningrad is not unprecedented, as alliance members routinely conduct surveillance, air policing, and readiness operations along the eastern flank. NATO says these operations are usually conducted as part of planned and pre-announced exercises, although the alliance does not always disclose every operational detail in real time. As NATO-Russia tensions continue mounting, Moscow's latest air drills near Kaliningrad are raising fresh alarm bells across Europe. Russia deployed 10 Sukhoi 30S M2 fighters for live-fire strike drills in Kaliningrad, according to a report from Military Watch magazine. These exercises practiced both day and night precision strikes against a range of simulated enemy targets in the region. The drills specifically targeted mock command posts, engineering fortifications, troop concentrations, and armored vehicles. The fighters also trained to operate inside contested enemy air defense environments, practicing evasive maneuvers against simulated air defenses.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HD app. Download now.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.